How do you balance the vision of the artist and the business as a manager?
Yeah, there's a saying that I've used for some time is when you're doing a deal for your artist, don't think about the commission. Because if you think about the commission, then you're thinking about yourself. And it's a challenging piece of advice because ultimately we need our business to make money. But I truly believe if you do the right thing by the artist, the business will take care of itself. So I think it's really important that we stick to that motto, because otherwise you start to make short-term decisions which won't help build the career, which might shorten the length of the relationship and ultimately be bad for the business in the long run.
100% agree to this, and you can have +1 from me.
Yeah.
I believe the same.
Thank you. And it's hard because, as we've touched on a few times, things like cash flow, it's difficult sometimes to make the business work. But yeah, if you make the right decisions for the artist, you will win in the end.
And what do you? I mean, when you're investing through side stage ventures in many companies, so whenever you are investing, let's assume somebody sent you a deck, you like the deck,
yeah,
and you meet the person. What are you looking at in an entrepreneur before taking a decision of investment?
Yeah, I think offline you were talking about ideas and execution. So they're two very distinct things. You and I could have the best idea. We're going to build the greatest ice cream shop in India, with these special flavors and this, whatever it is. It sounds great, but we've got to go and actually build the ice cream. And so you meet a founder, has a great idea. Do we believe they have the 10-year vision to build this company? Because that's the hardest thing. And also because these ideas will evolve, they will change, they will require adaptive thinking. So we need to make sure we can figure out if they've got that character. The truth is, it's very hard to figure that out in a few meetings. Same with when you sign an artist. I say we want to work with artists that work hard and will drive through the night to get to Barcelona, but we don't know if they're going to do that. A lot of it's coming to your intuition and instinct ultimately.
True. You have to take that punt.
You do, yeah, because otherwise you'll wait too long and someone else will work with them, or maybe the either the company or the artist. Because one thing I think is really important in business is not to waste people's time. So if an artist comes to me and says, can we work together? And I say, maybe, maybe not, I'm not sure, and you string them along, that's the worst thing you can do. I think it's being honest, I think is the most important thing.
This is a question which you had answered in one of your podcasts I saw, but I loved the question. You started your business 20 years back. If you had the knowledge and the resources which you have today, or the experiences you have, would you have done the business very differently? And if yes, how?
Yeah, the saying always comes to me is ignorance is bliss. So when I was 18, I was living at home. I didn't have many expenses. It was very easy to start a record label in some ways, because if I failed, I could go get a job at the supermarket, But now I'm 40 years old. I have a family and I have responsibilities. If I went and took that risk today and I failed, it would be, I couldn't, well, I could, but I'd ideally not move back in with my parents when I'm 40. So I think what I would do differently though is, and in this sense, it may not have worked. It may not work. What I would do differently is I would have probably hired some consultants, built a business plan, brought on investors, done all sorts of analysis and market research and sort of built out this big plan and then gone and done it. And it would probably work in some way, but I think the way I did it, there's some magic in that sort of.
I also think sometimes with this entire process, a lot of great ideas are lost in transition. because I met a lot of founders who started like you or started like me. Most of them didn't really have experiences, but what they had was that, that gut feeling, that passion, that craziness to, to be able to break something or do something without the knowledge. And I think sometimes when you have all these resources, that thing gets missing and, the ideas don't work. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. It's because sometimes I sit down, and maybe you do as well, and go, I want to come up with a new idea and build something new. And you're, because what do they say? Like knowledge is power, but knowledge is also dangerous. If you know too much, you don't know what you don't know, and you sort of almost start to confuse yourself. Whereas when I think back to, like, if I watched a movie of my life, there'd be so many scenes where I'd be like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that. But I was just doing it because I didn't know any better. But the reality is, if I had have stopped and not done half those things, I wouldn't be here.
True.
Because in all those mistakes, all those failures have become learnings. And the opportunity to learn is like one of the greatest gifts.